Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing well. So I'm finally making a BTS video again. Guess it's been a while lol, but anyway, as you can probably tell from the title, I'm going to be discussing fanservice, scripting, and staging in K-pop, and we'll go into detail about BTS. I feel like this topic isn't discussed a lot, at least on YouTube. I haven't seen too many videos about it, if any at all, so I just thought it would be interesting to dive into. I'm not necessarily going to just be analyzing and trying to dig things out the entire time. A lot of the video is just me talking about what I've seen a significant amount of the fandom express with their growing popularity. So there will be a lot of open-endedness and scope for you guys to carry on the discussion in the comments below. So please do drop your thoughts and opinions once you've gotten through the video if you do lol, because this is definitely going to be a long one. So get cozy, grab a snack or a drink, or both, and sit back and relax. And with that being said, let's get right into it. I don't want the background section to take up too much time lol, but I always like to provide some background info on my position just so you guys have a good idea of where I'm coming from before getting into everything I have to say about the topic. So let's get that out of the way quick. When I was a baby army, I used to spend a lot of time on Reddit, Quora, and Twitter reading about BTS. Literally everything I could find that didn't cross any lines, I would consume. And I absolutely do not recommend going through a phase like this with any group you stan at all. Please, steer clear from shit like this for your own sanity. But anyway, as a new army, I was basically smitten with BTS and didn't truly know much about them. I had only seen one side of things, and was completely oblivious to their history. I didn't know anything about their scandals, especially the ones that concerned racism, colorism, and cultural appropriation. I didn't know about any scandals whatsoever, but I wanted to know everything about them. So I decided to dig deeper, and then I found a lot of negative shit. One of the main things that honestly bothered me for a long time was the big question itself: is everything fake? Are idols faking their personalities on camera to appeal to fans and give them what they want? Are they emphasizing or exaggerating certain aspects of their relationship with their group members because fans like certain friendships more than others? Is everything idols are doing purely for show? What is even real? I couldn't shake the feeling of there being a possibility of everything being completely fake and entirely constructed for fan service. All the sweet video clips I had seen of the boys being incredibly kind and generous to fans. All the goofy and friendly interactions they had with each other and just their personalities on camera. The possibility that all of that could be completely fake or even largely orchestrated really disturbed me. So that is what got me into this topic. So yeah, that's my background. Now that you know where I'm coming from, I'll shut up about me and get into the juice. Now before y'all come for me and say BTS has been nothing but authentic from the start and they have openly shared their background and struggles etc, trust me, I hear you, and I agree with you. But BTS was once a part of the K-pop industry and they very much functioned like a traditional K-pop boy group. Let me explain what I mean by that. So since we are talking about BTS in this video, I am going to talk about boy groups and male idols even when I am generally speaking in terms of the industry as a whole. So the K-pop industry is designed to create a fantasy for fans. Idols are marketed to be these available, perfect, kind, gentlemen, heartthrobs that want you and like you. This fantasy is the very thing that sells. People can't get enough of their bias or their faves because the industry is telling you that they're yours and you can have them. Fanservice is a major tool that keeps this fantasy up and running, and it is a major part of an idol's job to play into this fantasy in the name of fanservice. And when I say fanservice, I am not referring to high-fiving fans at concerts or waving and smiling at them and blowing kisses. I am talking about literally embodying what the fans want in terms of the whole fantasy. Idols are required to basically do what they can to give the people what they want. Now you might say BTS is not K-pop and they have transcended this label of being K-pop idols in every way possible. They don't follow or participate in K-pop trends. They have a lot of their own shit going on that is exclusive to BTS. They are extremely active internationally and have projects and campaigns of their own etc. Basically they aren't K-pop idols, so they don't work like the K-pop industry, right? Well, not completely. Yes, it is true that BTS has transcended the K-pop label in pretty much every way there is to break that boundary and get out of that box. Yes, it is true that they are extremely authentic and genuine and true to themselves. I mean, even a blind person can see that. However, there are other things they have to deal with now, due to which they may have to maintain certain traditions of the K-pop industry that are maybe not so genuine. First of all, they are so freaking big right now that someone will recognize them literally anywhere on the fucking planet. If they go to freaking Antarctica, there will be fans there. Someone knows them everywhere. Maybe even in space. Who knows? And I don't think any of us can truly comprehend what that means. When you are that popular, you are constantly going to be under watch by the media and by the public. So of course, there will have to be certain rules and regulations to be followed for your own safety and well-being. In this case, I am talking about Sasaengs, Delulus, and Antis. With the number of supportive, mature fans increasing, the number of haters, Sasaengs, and Delulus has drastically increased as well. An obvious protective measure to take is fanservice. If they keep giving the fans, specifically the crazy Delulus and Sasaengs, that will literally pull some crazy shit if the boys don't fit into their fantasy what they want. Then they are safe, the fans are happy, and it's all good and merry. I'm not saying their every move is controlled and is required to be, but they definitely have to watch what they do, what they say, where they go, when, etc. to avoid literally causing World War III, and of course for their own safety above anything else. They have to be extra cautious and careful. And so what's the strategy? That's right, fanservice. They have to maintain the image these fans have of them, as of now at least. I know one day they will say fuck it and do what they want and be completely open, but right now that is not the case. While things have improved, they did blow up a crazy amount over the pandemic, and they've said it themselves. They aren't even really sure how the fuck to deal with that yet. It is very understandably, incredibly overwhelming. So based on all that, scripting, staging, and fanservice to a certain extent is inevitable. We cannot deny that some things are fabricated or framed to appear a certain way, but there's a lot more. Of course, in their early years when they were just starting out, their fandom was much smaller, and they didn't have to deal with a shit ton of media and public and popularity. So they were much more candid and open, and if you watch their old vlives or logs, you can clearly see they were being no one else but their true selves. And throughout their career, their vlives have always been the one mode of BTS content that is as casual and authentic as can be. Everything else from them is pre-recorded and edited, like Run BTS, Bon Voyage, their variety show appearances, interviews, etc. And vlives were the one thing where armies felt like okay, they're actually being themselves and just having a chill, casual conversation, and we get to see this more real, raw side of them. Most of the times in their vlives they have no makeup on, are wearing comfortable, casual clothes, and it's often like they're squeezing the live into their schedule, so they talk about their day, what they just did and what they want to do next, and reply to comments and actually interact with fans. And since it's literally being live streamed, you can see their true reactions to stuff on camera. But a lot of fans started noticing in the last 2 years or so that even their vlives have become scripted. Sometimes you can tell that they're looking at staff members behind the camera who are more than likely telling them what to say or what not to say or do. Or they feel forced. It's like the boys don't really want to be there streaming and they'd rather have done it in their own time. But it was on their schedule, so they had no choice but to sit in front of the camera live. It's also like they're forced to discuss certain things in their lives and not just talk about random shit that they feel like sharing. This is happening to the point where it no longer feels natural, like it used to, and a lot of the lives are also super planned, like there's a whole setup and everything, and it's evident that it's not to go with the flow situation at all, because they know exactly what they're going to talk about and get straight into it. This was the main thing that bothered people, because like I mentioned before, all their other appearances or all the other BTS content we get is pre-recorded and heavily edited. So the fact that even their live streams became something that were super monitored and constructed started to bother people. I've read numerous posts and comments online about older fans that were armies since the beginning lose interest in the boys because they started to feel less genuine. I can't really comment on that much because I am not a veteran army, and as a relatively new army, I find them to be some of the most genuine, humble, and authentic people out there, especially with their status and achievements. But I can understand where veteran armies are coming from. And it is also understandable because literally everything they do now is scrutinized to the bone and can easily be blown out of proportion and flipped into something scandalous or problematic. So I get that their lives need to be more monitored, but it does suck that they don't feel that casual and random anymore. Another thing I've seen a lot of people say that I wanted to address are idols having fake personalities. I could make a whole video on this, but for the sake of time and this section's relevance to this video, we're going to keep things short and sweet. So with personalities, of course, if you are in the public eye, you will develop a public persona by default. It is inevitable. And with being an idol, the pressure is even more insane to have this picture perfect image. So a lot of people feel like with increasing popularity, BTS personalities have become more fabricated and fake, and something about them doesn't feel right or always feels kind of off. The member I have seen being called out for this the most is J-Hope, mainly because of his personality, which people feel is over the top and exaggerated. A lot of people feel like he is unrealistically happy in the sense that he is always super positive and bubbly 24/7. And there are some pictures of him where it seems like he isn't aware he's being captured on camera, so he's showing his supposedly true colors. Now I know it is impossible for the public to really know idols' true personalities, because we don't personally know them. Most of what we know about them and have seen of them is either pre-recorded and edited content, or it is spoken keeping in mind that it is for public consumption, and is therefore very carefully articulated and crafted. This is 100% true. However, I think it is impossible to have a completely fake personality no matter how much things you do are edited or controlled for the camera. First of all, BTS have been in the limelight for years now, and we have seen them grow and change for over 8 years. Can you really tell me that they're faking everything we see and have been doing so for that freaking long? It's literally impossible. If you try and fake your personality for that long, especially when most of your time or a significant amount of your time is spent in front of a camera or in the public eye, you will lose your shit and crack at some point. It's inevitable. Secondly, not showing your entire personality on camera does not mean you're faking it. Everyone has different sides to them and a lot of depth and intricacy to their personalities. There are some parts you are comfortable showing the world, others when you're in private with close friends, others with your family, and some that you keep to yourself or only reveal to a few people. Going back to J-Hope's example, this is what is happening. He isn't faking anything. He's simply choosing to show the side he's most comfortable showing in public and on camera. And I think this is generally the case with the rest of the boys as well. Namjoon has talked about this many times, the fact that leading the kind of life they do makes it very easy to lose yourself. He has discussed the feeling of focusing so much on being RM that he forgot how to be Namjoon. So yeah, I really do not think they fake their personalities whatsoever. Sure, they may hide major parts of it, but everything we see is real. I truly do believe that. Love Yourself was a pivotal moment in their career. During and after Love Yourself era, they got more opportunities than they ever had before. And it was truly the first time they experienced skyrocketing popularity, and with that came a lot of change. And I mean a lot. Tons of armies felt like everything just became about catering to the public. And quick disclaimer before I go further, please note that this isn't my argument, but just a lot of what I've seen on the internet. So don't come at me. I'm just laying out what I've seen and analyzing it by discussing what made a lot of people feel this way and why. Doesn't mean I agree with it. So anyway, after they skyrocketed in popularity for the first time, suddenly it wasn't so much about them, it was all about us. And that doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? Because inherently, it isn't. But when the boys supposedly started focusing on catering to their fans more, especially their more global audience, they changed up their sound, their image, their concepts, everything. Or that is what I imagine it felt like to a lot of armies that feel this way. Before, it felt like they were down on Earth, right here with us, and then suddenly they were up in space among the stars. Not in terms of their ego or their attitude or their perception of themselves, but in terms of the way society as a whole started to treat them because of their popularity. They were put on this massive pedestal that felt so far out of reach. And I've seen people say that before. They found them to be real, raw, and relatable, but now they were beyond far from reach and just these big huge celebrities. So with all that, especially their huge shift in sound, it felt like everything was just about fanservice. Because that is when everything with vlives and stuff started to change as well. It was a gradual change, but that was the start of it all. Everything was about ARMY even in interviews, and to some it got to the point where it started to feel disingenuous. If you ask me, I don't feel like I can give a good answer because I haven't seen them grown and evolve. I've known of them since 2015 but didn't really get into them until much more recently. But I wanted to include this section in the video because I do feel like Love Yourself era was pivotal and a lot of change did come with it, especially in terms of their interaction with fans and the apparent authenticity of it. If you're a veteran ARMY or someone that lost interest in them around Love Yourself era or feel like things haven't been the same, I'd love to hear what you have to say, so feel free to discuss your experience in the comments. So what about when it comes to their digital content like Bon Voyage, Run BTS, and In the Soup? With Run BTS, the episodes are of course planned in advance because the staff decides what they boys will be doing that day. However, the way they unfold is completely natural. Yes, it is pre-recorded and edited, so there are things that get cut out or emphasized, but that's a normal and expected amount of scripting and editing. Most ARMYs don't feel like Run BTS is fake or not genuine. It's just so chaotic and all spontaneous that it's not really possible for that to be a complete script that's being acted out or something. We can collectively agree on that. But with their other shows, that is where the staging and scripting really comes into play. Bon Voyage Season 4 is what sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Now if you didn't know, during the time Bon Voyage Season 4 was being filmed, literally just when they left for New Zealand, Jungkook's dating scandal had blown up and was literally everywhere. This was when he was hanging out with his female tattoo artist, and apparently back hugging her, and people assumed they were together. Pictures were leaked, and people said horrible things about both Jungkook and the tattoo artist. Imagine being in that situation but having to literally leave the country and film a show about traveling and having a good time with your best friends. I cannot imagine the amount of stress it must have caused Jungkook. And of course, because they were filming for Bon Voyage, he and all the others as well had to pretend that absolutely nothing was going on and they were having a good old time and everything was spectacular and amazing. Now, if you are a baby ARMY and are watching Bon Voyage season by season and you have zero idea about this scandal or anything like that, season 4 will absolutely feel normal and okay to you. But if you watched it when it came out and knew what was going on at the time, I imagine you can't help but feel a little unsettled by the whole thing. Of course they had to pretend everything was okay during the filming and try their best to have a good time on camera. Because with Bon Voyage, yes, it gets edited, but you have to remember they are basically being filmed 24/7 and a lot of that footage is kept, but it's literally like nothing was going on at all. So this raised a question in a lot of people's minds that if they are capable of hiding this massive scandal that blew the fuck up and clearly affected all of them for the entire duration of filming for a happy, heartwarming travel show, then what else has been a facade just for the camera? And within the Soup Season 1, the Teacup conversation comes to mind. I think this season was filmed around that time when the whole talk about Jungkook and Taehyung drifting apart was really gaining traction in the fandom. In the massive fandom. And now there's a conversation between the two in an In the Soup episode, of course to make it seem as natural and genuine as possible, but it was clearly staged right. I found that conversation to be absolutely genuine and real, like it was two best friends talking about things that might be hard to and need confrontation. They didn't even show us the entire conversation. So what is it then? The problem people had with this was the fact that it was filmed on camera when this was a big discussion in the fandom. The timing of it just screams okay, there's an issue right now, so let's address it on camera, but not directly so that people shut up about it and we can move on. And I see how it can make you think, did they just do that to get people to stop talking about it? Or why did they even feel the need to address something so private about their friendship on camera at all in the first place? What I've gathered is that the biggest issue people have with this is, these shows are marketed to be showing sides of them you've never seen before, or seeing them in their truest state, or seeing them relax and just do stuff outside of work and be themselves. But with instances like these, it doesn't really feel like that is what it truly is. Alright, now that we have gotten all the possible instances of fanservice, scripting, and staging out of the way, here are some very messy and incoherent concluding thoughts. I understand how it can be unsettling to know that everything you've believed about someone that you adored for so long could be a complete lie. The existence of that possibility itself is enough to throw you off or just make you hyper aware of certain things that takes away your ability to enjoy the content you're consuming or even the way you see your faves. But in the end, it's important to understand that a certain amount of fanservice, scripting, and staging is inevitable. We have to accept that we will never really know what goes on behind cameras, what is done exclusively for the camera, and ultimately what is real and what isn't. And that is completely okay. If you watch their interviews, variety shows, other pre-recorded content, vlives, and just anything that comes from them with an analytical eye, you're only ruining it for yourself. It is necessary to accept that things will be heavily monitored and scripted for their own safety and because of the sheer size of their fandom. And like I said before, these boys are literally some of the most genuine, down-to-earth, authentic people on the planet. Even a blind man could see it. So yeah, that's my conclusion. I don't even know what the point I was trying to make in the video was, lol, but yeah, that is all I have to say. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it if you did. It took me a lot of time and effort to make it. And please leave your thoughts in the comments below. This is an open-ended discussion, so I'd love to have your input on it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.